Okay.
Welcome everyone to today's podcast, and today we are joined by someone not just observe life, but it so deeply. He uses a powerful inner tool, but not as an escape. Darren, it's pleasure to have you here. Welcome, and how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Excited for the interview.
Yes, it's
Thank
my
you, Tooba.
pleasure to have you here. So, can we start like this? Doreen, can you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Yeah, my name is Darren. I'm a meditation teacher. I'm a dance and movement teacher as well. I live in Brazil, and I spend part of the year living in Brazil and part of the year living in Colombia as well, in between the two countries.
So, good to know you more, and I love how you described yourself. And as you mentioned about meditation, can you tell me when did you start meditation and why did you select it in your life?
Well, it's interesting. I began really meditating later in life because I'd gone on a 2-year journey working with psychedelics and powerful plants such as ayahuasca and mushrooms and San Pedro, which are plants that indigenous culture use to heal trauma. I had gone through a tremendous trauma after my father had passed away and my mother had passed away 8 years prior. So I had just this deep pain that I didn't know how to heal, and I found a book that was talking about how to use psychedelics to heal trauma. So I started on a 2-year journey, and toward the end of that journey, or probably toward the middle of it, I started listening to someone named Ram Dass, who was a wonderful teacher, a meditation teacher, and he would talk about how he loved how the plants made him feel free and they freed him of so much pain, but he wanted to feel like that all the time. And he spoke about how meditation was the practice that he used to feel like that all the time. So I began studying meditation, and through my work with the plants, in between the two, I began to understand what the meditation teachers that I was reading were talking about, and teachers like Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta, who are incredibly powerful meditation teachers. And from that, I began my journey with meditation, and I started to learn and realize that meditation is this it's incredible. I could describe it for the rest of the interview, but it's just this practice of watching and being aware of yourself. And through that practice, I've been able to heal tremendous traumas, but also to to I don't know how to describe it, just to see my life as it's happening and see things that would cause strife in my life or strife in others, and to make better decisions when I see those things, to live in a more intentional way. Let's put it that way.
Mhm. We can say this is maybe some actual and real growths for you. And you mentioned it about dancing. So, how do you feel when you dance?
Well, dancing to me is a form of meditation. It is a meditation with the body. There's many ways to meditate. And for me, when you dance either by yourself or with another person, you're connecting say you dance with yourself, like ballet or contemporary or different types of dance. You dance with the music, which first of all is a form of energy, right? The universe is made of waves, light waves, sound waves. So the waves pass through you, and by passing through you, they connect with parts of yourself, your soul, your body, and this creates an energy within you, and then you articulate it through the dance. So to me, dancing is this connection and exploration with my own body when I'm dancing on my own. When it's with another person, this is a really fascinating experience because when you dance with another person or with a group of people, you are aware of your own experience, your own body, but you're also aware of them. And this creates a feeling where you're aware of yourself and you're also aware of a group of people. So apart from yourself. So it's this unique feeling of experiencing your own experience, but also experiencing experience with another person or a group of people. So to me, it's just a beautiful practice in meditation to connect with myself and others, especially with the body, which to me is something that we are very disconnected from as humans. And that reconnection is a beautiful feeling.
Mhm. So, if you have a choice, for example, between meditation and dancing, which one is good for you?
They're both, it depends, they're both different. They're both different experiences. But I guess, oh wow, if I were to have to choose one or the other, that's a very difficult choice. And
Oh,
I don't think I'd be able to make it. I think they're both beautiful in their own way. Uh, yeah, they're both beautiful in their own way. If I was at a wedding or with friends, I would choose dancing instead of meditation.
good, yes. Something that many of us forget to, for example, move or feel freely. And as you mentioned it, dancing, it sounds like meditation in motion, and it is really good. And what about your failure and achievement? What was a major failure in your life, and one achievement that you maybe most proud of your achievement, one achievement and one of your failure, what would be?
Well, I think in terms of a failure, it would be that when my father died, I wasn't there for him. And I think that, I've been on a path since childhood, and that path led me to the experience I had with my father when he passed away, when he died, and and we were separated. I was separated from him emotionally and as a son to a father. And that failure was the energy that created all the motivation for me to do whatever I needed to do to heal myself because it was a failure that broke me. Like it kept breaking me, but it was sort of an experience. When I say failure, I mean an experience of understanding that I could not continue the way I was because the way I was led me to that moment. And it made me realize that I have to change something. And I didn't know how to change. I didn't know what to change. I actually found a book that my brother had, in a way, given me. And it was called How to Change Your Mind. It was about working with psychedelics to heal trauma. But I knew that I had to change something. That was a failure that made me realize that I could not go on living that way. And what's interesting is the universe gave me the answer. It gave me the answer, and it was the first. I mean, there had been many experiences before that, but it was one of the first experiences I remember of understanding that when you're ready, the universe gives it to you. And the real readiness is just being able to recognize that. Uh, in a way, that could be an accomplishment. When you talk about the accomplishment or achievement I'm most proud of, I would say in a way that is an achievement of just being able to recognize. And even then, back then, it wasn't, oh, this is it. I just knew that this seemed like the right thing to do. This seemed like the direction to go. And it led to everything else. Uh, if I were to say two other achievements, it would be last year I taught a dance class. I taught several, and that had been something I'd never thought I would have imagined in my life because I did not grow up dancing and I was not a dancer, but I had such a passion for it and I had such a drive to learn how to dance and to one day teach because I felt I knew I could teach dance. I just wasn't going to get the opportunity like other dance teachers because I didn't grow up as a dancer. I had to learn, and I think that's what made me a good teacher is I understood what beginners felt like real beginners who had never danced. And to me, that was a tremendous achievement for me. And I had so much fun, and our students had fun, my students had fun, and it really was something that I don't know how one would define an achievement, maybe a goal you set out to do, but it really was an experience that I could have imagined before, and that I just, just working toward and just walking in that direction, I walked into that experience. So it was a wonderful achievement for me.
So that's really good, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for sharing that so openly. And one more question. So if you want to write a book about your life, what would be the title of this book?
Wow. So this is a really hard question. I write all the time, and I think the title is the most important part of the story because once you have the title, the story falls into place. Um, I spend a lot of time thinking of titles, and this one, I don't know. I mean, I have so many. I guess the title would be around death, though. My relationship with death. Maybe the title would be, my life dying, or 1,000 years of dying. It's just that to me, my experience with death and learning that death is a teacher and how to learn from death has it's changed everything for me. It's led to a different kind of life. So if I were to write a book about my life, it would be my relationship with death. So maybe my life dying, something like that, or the joy of dying.
Oh, such a powerful title. Yes, it's
Yeah, I
really
like to I like that idea. I like that idea of you turn it around.
yeah, yeah, that's really good, and that's really powerful title for a book. So one more question. So about the title of your story, you mentioned it, but how do you think when you have one choice to change something in your life, what it would be?
Wow, I wouldn't change anything in my life because it's exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
Everything, when I went through about 45 years or 40 years, let's say, because 1 to 5, you're not really too conscious of things, and that was actually a really good time. But I went through many years of depression and anxiety and very painful existence. And I had to go through that to build the energy to change. So I wouldn't say that I would change anything because everything for me is exactly how it should have been and how it should be. Uh, if I could change one thing about myself, I would love to be able to remember things specifically, like passages from poems or books or stories. I wish I had the ability to recall these things verbatim. I have almost zero ability to do that. I keep a lot of notes and I almost always have two screens open so I can refer to direct passages. But if I could have that ability, I would. But in terms of changing my life, everything is exactly how it should be.
Exactly. Yes, you're completely true, and I agree with you. And as I know you and search about you, Darren, you know that you are inspired too much by Rumi. And I want to know, is there a particular idea or message from him that changed how you see life?
Yes, there's so many. I think he was one of the greatest teachers who ever lived, and his work is so beautiful and profound and direct and also prolific. He wrote so much. You could just see that he was a living son, or he had that energy inside of him. But to me, the one idea from Rumi that changed or changes how I see life was his relationship with Shams. I I understand that relationship, that relationship with another person that you just love to talk to and love to have conversations with and love to have arguments with and love to discuss ideas. And I understand for me, that's what Shams was to him. And it almost makes me emotional, to be honest, because I know how important that is. You know, we in modern life, we think about cars and computers and clothes and all these material things, but there's nothing more valuable than just having coffee and a conversation with someone, a wonderful conversation. And to me, that's what Shams was to him. And I try to look for that in others. And I realize Rumi was lucky. To me, it seems like Shams was everything to him and he found all of it in one person. But I try to look for that in others. Like this conversation we're having, conversations I have with my brother, with my family, with friends, with strangers. I I imagine almost when it's really good that this is what Rumi and Shams had. And it's really it's a beautiful thing to me. And that so to me that's the way he described his relationship with Shams is something that I think about a lot.
So, yes, it was really a strong relationship between Shams and Rumi or Maulana. Any sentence or any quote from him that you always repeat with yourself, do you still remember or do you want to share with audience?
Well, I refer to the poem The Guest House often. To me, it is a beautiful, it's a poem about how to live life. And it's I can't quote from it directly, this being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival. I think if I were to quote any part of that poem, it would be that over and over again. Every morning a new arrival. And it's so perfectly written. It's so true that every morning, it's a new day. We have a new arrival. And he talks about the visitors, the joy, the depression, the meanness. And he says, welcome and entertain them all. And he says it with an exclamation point. So he says it with excitement. Welcome and entertainment them all. And to me, that's a line I think of a lot, especially when I'm, in a heavy state, when like sadness or depression or grief or anger, I try to remember that poem, or at least those few lines. And it reminds me that this is how Rumi would have behaved with this emotion. And it makes me think, okay, let me try to be like Rumi and behave with this emotion the same way. Let me welcome it and sit with it for a while. Really beautiful instruction for life.
So that's really good. And I also suggest for audience to go through this poem by the name of Guest House, like that.
Yes, in English, in your language, and it's I don't know the name. What is the name of that poem in your language?
Guest house, maybe some mehmankhana or something like that we called in Persian.
I'm gonna look it up. I want to look it up because I should listen to the poem in its original language in Persian
Mhm.
because there's something about a beauty and a rhythm of listening to the original language something was written in. And I think you hear it in a different way.
Yes, yes, maybe. So before we wrap up the podcast, can you give our audience only one gift in one sentence?
One gift.
Yes, one gift in form of a sentence for audience.
Oh, well, well, I would just repeat what Rumi said. You know,
Yeah.
I think that this being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, and welcome and entertain them all. To me, yeah, to me, that's a great gift. And, Rumi gave it to me, and I will pass it back to you and the audience.
So thank you, thank you. Yes, it is really good. And thank you for sharing this. And I really enjoy from this podcast and it was really insightful thoughts. So to everyone watching or listening, if something in this podcast stand to you, take a moment and sit with it. And as well, please let us know in comments about your insightful thoughts or ideas. And Doreen, thank you so much for sharing your amazing journey for our audience. And I really enjoyed and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, thank you, Tuba. I really appreciate the conversation. Really beautiful podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much.